key matchups to watch for the Arizona Cardinals ahead of Cardinals at 49ers. And I'm going to start, if we're cool with that, because I think, again, this team, they set the tone up front. They set the tone with their offensive line. It's been the best unit, hands down, of any unit for this team. And I'm looking at the matchup right now, DJ Humphries versus Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, defensive player of the year. He got paid a premium, well-deserved. And then DJ Humphries, 105 dropbacks, 0 sacks allowed on the year. It's a guy that could very well be in his last year with the Arizona Cardinals. All of his guaranteed money got moved to 2023. Man, oh man, if DJ Humphries, I feel like, played pretty well against Dallas, can he continue to build on that? Remember, he didn't have OTAs. He came back during training camp. He's a guy that you have to build momentum. It has to snowball, right? But number 74, you will not find a better leader in that locker room for this team. I think if he goes out there, and I don't want to say handles Nick Bosa, but contains him, that breeds confidence throughout the rest of that 53-man roster.
Yeah, if one of the highest paid players on the roster plays up to his salary, it's a big shot in the arm for the offense. If DJ Humphries can slow down Nick Bosa, and you look at this, I mean, as long as he's not making life a living hell for Joshua Dobbs, 9 hurries, 5 QB hits, and a sack. If DJ Humphries can play more up to his stats than Nick Bosa plays up to his stats in this game, huge boost for the Arizona Cardinals. And look, those are not numbers to turn your nose up with DJ Humphries. I know after week 1 you were kind of asking for better performances, and I think he's delivered that the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, again, wasn't great against the Commanders, but what he did against Dallas, I mean, he was one of the more consistent offensive linemen. And for me, it's like, just stay healthy, DJ, because when we get DJ on the field for consistent periods of time, he's a really good player for the Cardinals, like 70 plus PFF rating, right? Somebody who's made a Pro Bowl. Where you get in trouble spots with DJs when he's in and out of the lineup, and he has to regain that momentum and those cadence. The Cardinal offensive line, while of quality this year, needs the leadership of DJ Humphries. Like, Yelda Frodold's in his mid-20s. Will Hernandez has only been here a year. Paris Johnson Jr. is a baby. Like, you need DJ Humphries at 74 as your team captain. He's not only the team captain, he's the captain of the offensive line. And you want your best going up against San Francisco's best. And DJ Humphries has had success against Nick Bosa before. Yeah. Like, I think back to the second year, Kyler Murray going into San Francisco week 1, and the Cardinal offensive line handling Nick Bosa that game, and Kyler Murray going off for about 350 yards all purpose en route to a Cardinal dub. Like, let's have a throwback game. And let's give Josh Dobbs every opportunity to remain a consistent threat through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, massive. I mean, that game was one of the most physical games I've seen the Cardinals play, at least during the Cliff era. That was a massive win for that team. To open up the season?
Yeah.
And then,
the Niners had just been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then the next year in 2021 when they did it with Colt McCoy at quarterback, also very physical. Not a team that you're used to seeing get out physically played. The Niners, the Cardinals certainly did that, and they're going to have to do that again this week. Let's get to my key matchup, because I completely agree with you. Trying to slow down Nick Bosa is huge. What JG called, Nick Bosa, their war daddy, he called Kazir White, the Arizona Cardinals, war daddy. Look at these stats. Only player in the NFL right now, 30 tackles, 1 sack, 1 pick. Of course, that huge back-breaking pick against Dak Prescott in the win last week. Can he continue these performances? Kazir White, absolutely. And if anybody's going to slow down and be the kind of the key cog in slowing down C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, 353 rush yards, 70 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, all of those on the ground. It's going to start with 7 in the middle of that defense. Sure, it's going to help, with guys like Zaven Collins off the edge and Dennis Gardeck, and they're versatile as far as coming off the edge and not just pass rush guys. They can slow down on the run. But Kazir White's going to be the one that's going to be putting his body on the line, taking out 23 of San Francisco.
He was the guy that Jonathan Gannon wanted in free agency to come over and continue that physical style that had been developed and nurtured in Philadelphia. Like, again, I'm not calling for careers to be ended, but can we do an Aeneas Williams, Steve Young, where you just knock somebody on their ass? I mean, this guy, McCaffrey's had wide open lanes to begin the season, right? It's come relatively easy for San Francisco. How about somebody lay a pop like Kazir White on Christian McCaffrey, who's been known to go down from time to time? Again, I'm not rooting for injury, but setting the tone from a physicality standpoint. Because don't get it twisted. Like, we're sitting here saying, like, who are the Cardinals going to play at defensive tackle? Like, the Niners are saying the same thing. We should have success. Kazir White being able to fill up the line of scrimmage and putting a pop on somebody, a helmet to helmet, as they used to say, would go a long way. because again, like the Shanahan offense can run with a lot of different backs. You lose McCaffrey, you lose 90% of what they want to do as their game plan. You can make things very difficult for Brock Purdy if you take away the ultimate safety net, number 23. If Christian McCaffrey is not himself, Brock Purdy will not be himself. Make Brock Purdy throw 40 times a game. If Brock Purdy beats you for 40 attempts, then so be it. I'm selling out for the run this week. They have to be much better tackling than we saw. We talked about that earlier. Kyzir White, though, and I tweeted this out after last week's game-winning interception, and I'll double down on it. He's playing the best inside linebacker of the last 5+ years for this team. He's a game changer, and he sets the tone. Like, I like Jordan Hicks a lot, but those Cardinal teams, as you just alluded to, could be soft at times, especially against the run. Kyzir White, for what they've been able to do and keeping everybody on track and in place. Young players, right? New players are bringing guys off the street. Then you have the one staple in the middle of the defense. Remember, no Budda Baker in the back end. Kyzir White's the captain, the MVP of this defense easily thus far this season.
War Daddy.
Yep.
War Daddy White. Love it.
I mean, put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on
a merchandise locker t-shirt, baby. He gets a couple more interceptions, man. I mean, 2 years, $4 million. Pretty good deal by Monty Ossenfort.
It's not investing first-round picks in it.
Listen,
in that position.
To each their own, but that's a poor way of team building. Steve Keim, and this is the right way to do it, Mr. Monty Ossenfort.
You want to get into these predictions or players of the game, offensive and defensively, our X factors?
Yeah, take it away, Mr. Bo Brock.
All right, let's take a look at mine. As much as I'm pumped up about this team, San Francisco, it is an absolute buzzsaw right now. 24-17, I have the Niners winning this game at home. But if the Arizona Cardinals have a path to victory, it's going to be riding that run game once again. And it's if that happens, your offensive star is James Conner. He showed up on the injury report this week with a back, a little sore. Looks like he worked that out. Not even a designation going into this game. He's full go. He told us he's feeling good and he's ready to roll. So number 6 is ready to run through some blocks and some tacklers for the San Francisco 49ers. And then, like I said, if you're going to have any success against this San Francisco offense and get to Brock Purdy, it's going to come from a guy like Dennis Gardeck, a Zaven Collins, a Victor Dimukeje. It's going to be an all-out effort. But if Gardeck can be the one to lead the way and do it on the pass, on the rush, we saw him just completely bounce off a potential blocker last week and torpedo a ball carrier. If he can continue that violent play, it's good news for the Arizona Cardinals. And then I've got the X factor and Paris Johnson Jr. Now, hopefully this was before he showed up on the injury report, but if he's a guy that can continue to do what he's done so far. Now, I know he had a couple penalties last week, and he also had, the sack that he gave up to Micah Parsons. But if he can continue to be a beast and a kind of a bulldozer run grader, that's just going to bode well for what the Arizona Cardinals want to do offensively. It's a mix of course, James Conner, utilizing Joshua Dobbs' mobility, and then also mixing in Rondale Moore, and we'll see what Keontae Ingram's status is come game day. If he's going to miss it, maybe they'll elevate a guy like Corey Clement. But the guys that can make big plays in this run game, and Paris Johnson's the part of the reason why they're getting opportunities to bust it out for big, explosive run plays. Number 1 team in explosive run plays in the NFL, it's not the Niners, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Paris Johnson Jr. represents everything this team wants to be now and moving into the future. I don't want to be robbed of watching him against San Francisco for the first time. We got our guy picking spreads in the chat with the super chat asking, is Paris Johnson Jr. going to play? Is his opportunity in jeopardy? $1.99. Thank you so much. Picking spreads. I think if you ask both of us right now, we feel pretty good about him playing, but it's something to watch. Ankles can change seemingly overnight. They're going to be cautious with him. He is, like Kyler Murray, one of the most prized investments on the team. But, I mean, he's a war daddy in and of himself. He's a gamer dating back to his time at Ohio State. I don't think he missed any time during his last year there. So, again, they need him if they're going to win. I like Kelvin Beachum. Kelvin Beachum, for lack of a better term, coming off the couch, coming off the bench to block this Niner front. That's asking a lot.
That is.
Speaking of asking a lot, it's asking a lot of the Cardinals to win this game. However, here's my prediction, and I want everybody to take this with a grain of salt. I picked them to win each of the first 2 weeks they lost. I picked them to lose last week. They won. So for that reason and that reason only, I'm going to say San Francisco wins 28-17. This would be the first time they're held under 30 points this season, though. If the Cardinals are going to get this upset, Michael Wilson leads the team in receiving yards. Hollywood Brown's limited with a thumb. Michael Wilson, the physicality, I think, lends himself well to taking advantage of that. 49ers secondary, which, I mean, Ufunga and company, they're a real team.
Yeah.
But Michael Wilson, to me, budding star, dare I say, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas-esque. Yes, please, give him rhythm targets this week. Joshua Dobbs, let him eat, let him break tackles. Love this kid, can't say enough good things. And on the flip side, Zaven Collins, they missed him last week when he was injured, had a sack, let him build off of that. Have him placed over Mike McGlinchey's sorry-ass replacement at right tackle. The Cardinals will get home in this game. Brock Purdy's a statue in the pocket. Mobility's not a factor. I mean, they did a nice job against Dak. Obviously struggled against Danny Dimes. This is the first time, really, this season where they're going to have, I mean, Purdy's athletic, but he's athletic in the same realm of, like, Sam Howell. Like, I think the Cardinals are going to be able, they're going to be able to contain him. Zaven Collins is a big part of what they want to do. And then the X factor. How about Matt Prater and the season he's having? Fuck me. Last week, all those field goals essentially won them the game. 62-yarder. Like, let Matt Prater eat, because I think right now, Matt Prater is one of the most valuable kickers in the NFL. And for a Cardinal team with a small margin for error, what it does for the confidence of this team, like, we're getting points. Joshua Dobbs is leading drives in the first half. Bo, you mentioned it. 10 opportunities for points each of the last 2 weeks. That's fantastic. So, again, everybody wants touchdowns, but when you're playing with a backup quarterback in particular, Bo Brock, you're able to convert drives to points. I don't care if it's 7, even if it's 3 with Prater. That's great for this team. It's what they didn't do last year under Kingsbury. Prater had an off year. I know people were concerned. Didn't look great in the preseason. He has been money, Bo Brock, and I'm all in on Prater. I think he's been fantastic.
He's been great. He's been one of those things where you can, if you put yourself in a position for points, you usually get points. Now, obviously, you get the 50-plus yard he missed in the opening drive against the Giants, and that's it. Other than that, he's been money in the bank. You know, I look at what the Rams were able to do offensively against this Niners offense, and, you know, they put up 23 points. It's been the most points that they've surrendered this season.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that as the blueprint, right? You have Matthew Stafford throwing the ball all around the yard. You have Puka Nacua. He's got 50, like, how many targets did he have in that game? Like, I just don't see
20.
Joshua Dobbs being that type of rhythm passer. Like, I've been encouraged by what I've seen from Joshua Dobbs in the passing game, but I just don't see him, you know, dinking and dunking and throwing it all around, where I think that the Arizona Cardinals can impose their will on a tough run defense and just play to their strength and really emphasize doing that. Now, you can live by that, you can die by that, but the Arizona Cardinals went up against a Dallas Cowboys rush defense that only surrendered about 170 yards rushing before last week, and then they put 222 up that week. Same thing's going for San Francisco. San Francisco, I mean, they've given up less than 200 yards rushing. It's going to be you're asking for a repeat performance here where you double the production through the first couple of weeks of the season.
Here's the template. You want the template? I'm going to give you one. Last October 16th. Does anybody remember where they were, who played whom? The Atlanta Falcons welcomed Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. They forced Jimmy G into 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions. The Atlanta Falcons, as a team, 168 yards on the ground. That's the template with Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota, and they beat the 49ers 28-14. Now, it's asking a lot, but again, their efficiency, 9 of 14 that day on third down. They had 18 first downs, 56 total plays. Again, their passing numbers were relatively average. They only passed for 121 yards. They ran for 5.2 yards per carry against this Niner front. And I know things are different. They've integrated some new pieces. They got the guy from Philadelphia, whatever. You can still run on San Francisco. And I think DeMeco Ryans is a better defensive coordinator than Steve Wilks. So I would not be surprised. Go back and look at that game. Marcus Mariota had a lot of success on the ground. Cardinals are built very similar to that Atlanta team from a year ago. And they've got James Conner, who's top 3 in the NFL in broken tackles. He, in my opinion, should be a Pro Bowl back this year. Stick with that, Cardinals. Don't be afraid to go 3 and out if it means running the ball directly at San Francisco. Start the possession with 2 consecutive runs and give Josh Dobbs an opportunity where he's not forced to throw 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, right? I know fans can get frustrated with that because not everything's going to pop.
Right.
Keeping that defense honest was why Michael Wilson was wide open at the end of that game against Dallas, because Dallas assumed first down, we're selling out for the run. There's number 14 streaking down the field and making the game-changing plays. So immense confidence. Joshua Dobbs, the ability to read the RPO, fooling Michael Parsons, that first play from scrimmage, taking off down the sideline, makes San Francisco regret being aggressive with Nick Bosa and company, and I think they will.